Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 163 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. So I tried something new this week. I was listening to Eckhart Tolle on Russell Brand's podcast. He's such an interesting guy. Both of them actually are really interesting, but Eckhart was saying that when you're desiring something that you know isn't good for you, give it a minute. Push the pause button and delay it just for a minute or so. Sometimes you're able to move past the desire and onto something else, but your consciousness increases from just the awareness of the desire, and eventually you'll be able to overcome it altogether. So I've been really open about how my brain seems to really like and be addicted to drama, and there's always drama, right? No shortage of that, especially right now for whatever reason. So I practiced this all week. Every time I had a desire to check my phone to see what was happening in Afghanistan or to see who's fighting over masks or whatever, I paused. I let the desire just sit there. And I'm going to say 90% of the time it waned to the point that I no longer desired that dopamine hit, and I was able to continue working on the things that really add value to my life. And you know what happened? A lot. Activity breeds activity. I was getting phone calls from people with ideas and proposals that I'd been really thinking about and wanting. I made appointments for things that moved the needle in my life in ways that I wouldn't have had my brain been stuck and getting juiced off the dopamine hit of drama. So if you're out there and you're wanting more and you're wanting to create, you have to get your head there first. That is so important. And that really does take quieting your mind. And I've learned that quieting your mind is different for everyone. I mean, you know where your happy place is and where you do your best thinking. It's different for everyone. I mean, meditation is different for everyone. Your meditation may be a long shower. It could be dancing or listening to classical music, whatever juices you. Do more of that. And I'm about to say something kind of controversial here. You ready for this? I used to think that sticking your head in the sand was avoiding reality, not watching the news, not wanting to be informed on what's going on in the world. I've changed my mind on that. I now think the new sticking your head in the sand is partaking in what others create as reality, getting stuck in a rut with the excuse of staying informed by watching the news and living on social media. That's sticking your head in the sand. It's completely turned upside down. We're no longer living our lives. We're watching other people live a created, carefully crafted version of what they want you to believe. And it's not just the news, it's everything on social media. If you're wanting to grow, if you're wanting to create, if you're wanting to add value in a way where you impact the world, you almost have to ignore reality. If you can see me right now, I'm doing air quotes when I say reality because we don't know what's real and what's not real anymore. So what's the answer? Well, right now, it has to be your intuition, your inner guidance system. We have to get very good at sniffing out something that just doesn't feel right. Trust what you can see with your own eyes. Trust the people that are on the ground that are talking to you, giving you their real experiences. What is your intuition telling you? A lot if you give it the chance. So how do you give it the chance? Well, you stop sticking your head in the sand by watching the carefully crafted agenda that others want to sell you. And I'm not talking about just politics or viruses or medication. I'm talking about everything and everyone you're watching. There's an agenda there, and it isn't all bad. But until your inner guidance system can tell the difference, you have to stop it all. I mean, that's where I am right now. I want to move the needle in a positive way. I want to make myself the best version of me that's possible. And I believe God made us in a beautiful, perfect way. Where you are right now is exactly where you're supposed to be. And where I am is the same. And if you're listening to this and it's resonating, then I'm so happy for you because you get it. Being okay with where you are is crucial. So why? Why is that? Because it allows you to relax and to stop forcing things, to stop searching for what you should do next or how to reach that goal. Abraham Hicks says to stop trying to push the noodle. Whenever they say that, I actually imagine a limp noodle and I'm trying to push it. Well, that's what happens when you're trying too hard, trying to force things. It might seem like you're taking action, but it's forced, and that tends to break things. Remember, I talked about forcing things in the dishwasher during one of my last episodes? It got much easier and went much faster when I just slowed down and took my time. There's no rush. I mean, where you are is exactly where you're supposed to be. It's okay to want to consider your next move. So often we want to throw our hands in the air because we aren't sure what to do, what the right thing for us is. But here's the thing. You really do know. Deep down, when you're in a state of ease or in a state of relaxation or fun or whatever it is that gets you going, that's when the inspired thoughts come. That's when you get the good ideas. You get goosebumps. You have that little feeling inside that says, yep, that's it. That's the one. A lot of times, inspired thoughts come in the shower because who doesn't love a good shower? When you accept where you are as exactly where you should be, there's this calm resolve that there's nothing going wrong and everything that's happening is working out in your favor because it is. You just have to look for it. Now, I've always felt that there's someone looking out for me my entire life. There are so many examples of it. I was in Mexico years ago with my sister-in-law, just the two of us. We decided to, unbelievably, we decided to ride mopeds. Long story short, my moped didn't idle. So when I took my foot off the brake, it would take off without me pushing the gas. Unfortunately, I learned this in traffic when there was a foot tall curb. And yeah, I hit it and I flipped. I landed so hard on my rear end, so hard I couldn't get up. Now the police show up and an ambulance. And did I tell you we were in Mexico? Well, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this lovely American woman who spoke fluent Spanish swooped in and just started talking to the police. And she comes over to me and she says, "Are you okay?" And I tell her I'm not sure, but I think I will be. Well, she says, "Here's the deal. They're going to make you go to the hospital, and I'm not going to let that happen because it will be a minimum of $10,000 cash for you to be able to leave. And the only way they won't take you in the ambulance right now is if you can ride the moped back." Well, by this time, I can feel a large swollen knot forming on my rear end, which I knew wasn't good. And it was definitely not going to be good bouncing on a moped. But I also knew she was right. I didn't want to go to a hospital in Mexico if at all possible. So she offered to leave her car and drive me while I sat on the back of the moped on one side. And that's what we did. When we got to the moped place, the owner had driven by and seen my accident, and he wanted me to pay for the whole moped, even though it was their broken moped that got me in this mess. Well, this sweet lady argued for me again for 20 minutes with this man. And I ultimately ended up paying about $75. And finally, we made it back to the hotel and we were able to get an entire row on the plane home so I could lay down without injuring myself further. I mean, by that time, the knot was the size of a cantaloupe. It was crazy. My doctor said it was the worst wound he had seen without being broken. It was just pretty much bad tissue damage. So I was fine after a while. But my point is, this lady, who happened to be the wife of the owner of Senor Frogs in Cancun, at the time came out of nowhere and saved me from so much more pain. I'll never forget that. I don't think it's a coincidence that she was there that day. I believe we each have an inner guidance system looking out for us, and they'll direct things in our life to work for us. But sometimes we ignore those signs. Be willing to not ignore those signs. Be willing to follow those signs. Life is really meant to be fun, and we should be having a good time. Now, the journey is the good part. There is no destination except dying, and we're all going to do that eventually. So why not be happy right here in this moment? Why not accept where you are right now as perfect? I had a friend that was worrying about something that might happen in the future that could affect whether or not she went out for a promotion in her career. She was wondering if she should just not even consider the promotion because of this. And I told her, never let the thought that something could happen in the future stop you from moving forward. Ever. The future is unknown. The past is history. But this moment right now, that's ours to accept and find beauty in. To find hope and goodness in whatever we can. If you get an inspired thought, follow it. You get what you're looking for. You attract more of what you're focusing on. Activity really does breed activity, and your actions usually revolve around your focus. Your focus and your mindset affect everything in your life, so protect it like your life depends on it. One of my favorite mentors, Esther Hicks, says, your life is supposed to feel good, and you're meant to feel happy and satisfy your dreams. Feel appreciation for what is and eagerness for what is coming. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.